Welcome to character design, where you will create a unique character that is interesting and that you'll be able to use for your comics coming up. So, what you're going to need to do is three things. Number one, come up with a name, three facts about the character, and then draw two views of what it looks like from different angles. So, it could be front, side, back, lots of different ones. And you can go above and beyond by showing multiple characters or multiple facial expressions. Here we see a big page of very simple but unique characters, and these can be great because you're going to be drawing them in comics a few times, and so keeping it simple can be smart. So you can see what you'd like to do. They have lots of life in them. Here's a slightly more polished version, which is digital. And you can see by the facial expressions, the different head and body shapes, that they're very abstracted, but they still are very unique. And that's the main point of this, is trying to come up with something that's unique and interesting of your own. Going along the abstracted scale, here we have Garfield. Garfield looks like a cat, but is also very abstract in the way that he's drawn. When you look closely, you're going to notice that there's a lot of circles here, just a character built of circles. And so that's a good way. If you are, if you draw a little bit and you've drawn some things, you may be breaking things down into different shapes and pieces, and that's a good strategy to use when you're building a more simple character. For the next step on the scale, we've got more detail here with Raya from a Disney movie. And so from Raya and the Last Dragon, and we're seeing, a character designer here showing all these different choices for the costuming. Lots of details, same with this one. This one is quite detailed once again, lots of human shape and form. We're seeing, the character from the front, from the side. We're seeing a different facial expression. So character designers do a lot of different drawings to make sure that they know what they look like from different sides. Again, I'm only asking for two, but you can obviously do more. This character shows more three-dimensional sorts of shading. And so, however much detail you are comfortable with and that you want to use, that's where you should be. So decide where you're going to be on the scale. So once again, just to reiterate, if you want to use a more basic shapes and set up a nice unique character, you can start with any sort of a shape and just add some arms and legs. I'm going to ask that there's no stick figures, but that we do have some shapes incorporated. Or you may be on the spectrum where you'd like to have things made up of different shapes, simple shapes, but you're getting more detail in the character. It's still quite abstract, but it works nicely. And you can also be on the other end of the spectrum where you're trying to get more detail, less abstraction, more like what you see in real life. And this is not better than the others. It's just a different way. And I want people to choose what works for them and what works for their character. Because you might have a lot of experience with drawing, but you still prefer to do a simple character because you're going to use it in your comics. So don't worry about your mark compared to the abstraction level, because that doesn't really correlate. It's more about getting those unique pieces in and then showing the character from different angles to make sure that you know what they are going to look like. For part 2, this is a step-by-step look at how you can create a character. I'm going to do a simple one, and this can start with any shape. I would suggest, if you don't know what to do right away, draw a few shapes. I'm going to draw this weird shape with a face on it. You never know what's going to be interesting. You might want to draw a clock. You might want to draw an inanimate object or an animal. A scribble is coming to me. That's an interesting idea for a simple character that is also unique. A scribble character could be, someone who is like messy and strange, or maybe you play against the shape of it and you make him, more organized, and maybe the scribble is very neat in its actual personality and the way it moves and works. But once you've drawn a few things and you've figured out, what you want to do, then you can do the second view. You can have one facing. I would say always do one that's facing towards the audience so that you can really see what it's going to look like that way. And then you could do side, you could do top, you could do 3/4, so they're kind of turned to the side if you want. Any views like those are great. I also suggest that you put some guidelines down. You can do this with a ruler. If you're working on paper, you can do it digitally pretty easily with a grid. But this allows you to, when you're drawing something with a second view, to make sure the sizes match, because it's very easy to go too big or too small on your second drawing with specific pieces. And so artists typically do this when they are creating a character sheet like this. So I'm going to draw it from the side, and because it's such a simple character, the front and the side don't change too much. We're just seeing the side of feet, the side of the hands, the eyes are up top, and that's looking good. So a simple character doesn't have to take too long. And then your next part, once you're done the two views, you could think about the name. You could also start with the name. There's no right way to start a character. Whatever works is good. And so I'm going to call it Squiggles. That's my first idea. I'm sure there's a better idea out there, but we won't take the time to brainstorm. And then you also want to add some facts. So the facts are going to, it could be about their physical appearance or how they move. It could also be about their personality and their traits and what they're like. So this is all you need right here looking at this page. You need the name, the 3 facts, the 2 views, and that's it. So you can see how if you are making something very simple, this will be a very quick project for you. It doesn't have to take too long. But you can also take it further. You can see I'm adding some color, adding costuming, adding hats, accessories, other characters that go along with it can be a part of this. You can also work on different parts. If you're not like super happy with just one style of eyes, maybe you want to work on them. You can try different shapes. You can see what they would look like if they're angry or sad, surprised. And if you're trying to push towards a 4, you want to do more of this development, really get into it. You can look at any piece of the character, improve upon it, and show different iterations to show how much you're thinking about it. So with that, good luck on your projects, and I look forward to seeing what you come up with.